Hey everybody, it's Ron Bass with another edition of Soar High Personal Development, your source for
inspiration
and encouragement and pop culture and
positivity.
I like that.
Rants.
I love it. So here we are, about 3 years in now.
Something like that.
By the way, 90 podcasts.
90?
Yeah, give or take a dime or two.
Okay.
Having fun, doing the dealio, right?
Of course, always.
So we also have another podcast. It's the Ron Bass Show, which is basically an entertainment show we do once a week as well to promote our company, Soar High Records, and its artists and their music. So listen to that whenever you get a chance on Spotify or, of course, on YouTube. You can see the video. Well, tonight I've got a fun topic. It's I'll start off by just saying how it was told. Can't we just all get along? Do you know where that came from? Rodney King. You know who that guy is? Okay. So this was way back, about 20, 30 years ago in Los Angeles. Well, you tell the story. You don't know the story?
Oh, I don't know the story.
Okay, well, it was something along the lines of a young black man that was they beat the hell out of, the cops beat the hell out of him, basically. And they had it on video. And as a result of all that craziness, he was awarded millions of dollars.
Right, lots of money. Right.
Yeah, a lot of money. And unfortunately, I think the story went that he kind of went through all the money and unfortunately got involved in drugs and alcohol. And I can't remember what happened. I think he rebounded at some point, and I think he came into some more money, and he finally got to doing okay again. But the point of the topic tonight is to talk about why can't people friggin' get along? What is the problem with, like interaction? Why do people not get along? Whether it's in a marriage or a friendship or a business relationship or politics. Look at the politics in today's world. Right. Nobody's getting along. Everybody's look at the Israeli thing. It's like half the people think Israel's okay, and half the people think that the people in Palestine are okay, and that are fighting each other, and nobody's happy, and everybody's mad, and people just can't seem to get along. They can't get on the same page. So I want to kind of explore that tonight, talk a little bit about that, and see what the hell's going on, and why it's so damn hard for people to see eye to eye, and why is that the case? You got some ideas on that, sir?
Oh, man, I think everybody's just very opinionated.
Opinionated?
Yes.
What causes people to be opinionated?
A lot of pride.
Pride. So they're brought up a certain way, they believe a certain way, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's upbringing. A lot of it, don't you think, is upbringing?
Yeah, environment for sure. It could also be like
racism is pretty much taught from the ground up. Like you're in the home, and it's like blacks are bad, Jews are bad. And you're taught that as a kid. Or like over in Israel, these bad guys, the Hamas guys, they're taught from the time they're toddlers to hate Jews, and their mission of life is to kill them.
Right.
And that's why they can go out and do that stuff, because they're so brainwashed. Mm-hmm. So brainwashing, I think, is a big part of this process.
I would agree. I mean, yes. And again, it's like all about like having a very strong opinion about something, like feeling that.
But something causes that strong opinion.
Right, and it would be like brainwashing, but there's something specific about, like, it's like you said, like upbringing, environment, like what you're taught.
Environment. You become what you surround yourself with. You become what you think about. The two laws of psychology.
Exactly.
So that being the case, it looks to me like the only way to solve this problem is to invent some kind of pill that you can take to change people's opinion. No, it's not. I don't think there is an easy fix. I think it's just. I think the only way you can probably affect this sort of thing is to have a lot of patience. When you see something that's not right and you're in an argument with somebody, you have to let them talk.
Right.
You can't just like beat them over the head and you're right, I'm right, and you're wrong. That's not going to work. That's not going to win the day.
No, I agree with that.
Patience.
I agree with that.
A lot of patience.
Listening. Using your
ears. Lot of listening. Why are people so, there's so much rudeness and so much narcissism. People are so damn selfish, it seems like. Today, I was at a store and I opened the door for somebody. And somebody opened the door for me, and there's somebody else did something, and I said to that person, I said, man, it's so nice to see that there's still, people in the world that are gracious and that are friendly.
Right.
Because it's like a dying thing. It's like less and less you see that. It's sad.
It is. It really is.
And there's no reason that you shouldn't be nice to other people and follow the golden rule. What's the golden rule?
Do unto others as you would want to do unto yourself.
Mm-hmm. Simple little rule.
Mm-hmm.
Not hard to understand.
No, it's like if you want someone to treat you with respect, you have to respect them first. It's not, you can't do like, you can't disrespect somebody and expect them to want to be around you or want to be your friend or anything like that.
We talked about somebody tonight that I feel like has disrespected us, and you know what? You can't change that person, but you can sure choose not to associate.
Right, and I agree.
You know, there's no reason to beat somebody up or beat somebody up even like verbally. Just it is what it is. But there's a lot of selfishness going on in the world. I think that has a lot to do with the idea that people cannot get along. By the way, I read an article today about divorce. I think it was like they said 50% of all marriages wind up in divorce. But I bet you if you studied it, there'd probably be another 25 or 30% more that don't get along. Can't we just all get along? No, they can't get along. You know what it is with men? I had a good friend that was a lawyer, that was a divorce lawyer. And he told me one time, he said, with the men, it's always about the sex. And with the women, it's always about the money. And that's almost always why there was a divorce. That's crazy when you think about it. You boil it all down.
Yeah. I think humans are just weird. I don't know. The more and more every day I start to hate people more and more. I don't know. Maybe
well, I don't think hate's the right word. I think it's probably have disdain. Would be a better way to put it.
Yeah, disdain.
I mean, hate's a pretty harsh word.
Hate's not harsh to me. Hate is like, I don't know.
Well, dislike would be a more politically correct way of
correct. I agree.
Yourself.
I agree.
You're a professional person.
Right. No, and I agree with you. I wouldn't say that, I hate people. It's just that, like you said, like I have a strong disdain.
Disdain, yeah. That's better.
Many,
nothing surprises us anymore.
Right.
Nothing.
No, like, everybody's, like, it's not that off the bat I'm going to, like, not trust somebody, but it's just most of the time people are messing with you or they're just talking to talk.
Well, they're not keeping their word.
Yeah, they're talking to talk, just
talking
letting
to
you know
talk
what
instead
you
of
want to
walking the
hear.
walk. Right.
Exactly.
So in the end, what I think the most important thing is to focus on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's not selfish either. That's what you got to do if you're really going to be successful in life. You have to work on yourself first. One of my students at my dojo tonight and I were talking, and it's like, look, man, you've lost 50 pounds. You've come, your martial arts skills have you've just got so much better. Continue to work on yourself, and that sets the example for others. And that's what's up. Because as you can become more successful in life, really it's all about helping other people through your example setting.
Right, and I agree with you.
And people say, well, that's selfish. No, it's not selfish. It's what you have to do. Focus on yourself first, and then everybody else benefits. Does that make sense?
Yes. It just sucks because I already know that, and I can't do that in my own life. It's tough, Just makes things harder.
Explain that a little further. Why can't you be that guy?
It's not that I can't. I am. Like, that's the thing. I feel as though I help a lot of people, but I never really help myself.
Well, you have to help yourself first.
Exactly, I know, and I already know that. It's more or less like
But that's physical, mental. It has to. You have to work on yourself in all different areas.
I know, but what I'm saying is that
not just professionally.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is that, like, even when I try to do that, it's like I feel as though I'm failing, like, either professionally or like letting people down. Like,
I see where you're coming from.
Like just for an example, like yesterday, like I felt as though I let you down not recording the podcast because I was doing like some
family stuff
with my family, taking care of myself. But it's like, things like not doing laundry. I haven't done laundry in like months. I just have a pile of laundry. I hate it.
Well, guess what? Guess what I do? I just take mine to the laundromat, pay them $12, and I pick it up the next day, and that's my trip.
Right. No, and I feel that.
And I feel lazy I feel lazy, but you know what? It works for me.
Right. Exactly.
I try to keep everything simple. Like, I wear a tie when I go to the gym, and people look at me like he's crazy. Maybe I am crazy, but I came tonight to do martial arts. I have my time. I try to keep things simple. Because when you're an active person like you and I are, and we're ambitious like you and I are, when you are an ambitious person like we are, you got to keep things simple.
I agree.
Or you're going to go cuckoo.
I agree with you.
So I don't know what this has to do with getting along, but it all kind of ties together.
You have to get along with yourself before you can get along with anybody else. That's
first.
why I don't like people, because I don't really like myself right now.
Well, you're an introvert. That's just kind of your personality.
Extreme.
You're very introverted.
Extremely introverted.
And music is your therapy.
Right.
That's kind of the way it works.
I'm like extroverted.
But you're really good at it.
And I'm extroverted at the same time.
When you need to be.
Yeah.
Like when you're on stage, you're very... That's not unusual, by the way. I study people that are like that. They're very quiet otherwise, but when they have a chance to like be on the microphone or get on stage on a microphone, they're very outspoken.
Right.
And then they go back into their shelter.
I think it's like when I like talk to people, me, I'll talk a lot. I love to like, if somebody asks me a question or like, they're asking me how to do something music wise or anything.
Yeah.
I love to talk and like explain the whole thing and like podcast. I love to like talk about everything. But it's like, when I'm by myself in my shell, it's like so nice to just sit there, listen to music. It is quiet. Like I never really get like quiet time unless I put my headphones on and I'm like playing video games. Yeah. Like that's quiet.
Well, that's your time for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
When I go home at night, late at night, sometimes I'll take a hot shower, I'll eat a snack, and I'll just maybe watch some TikTok.
Yeah.
And I'll just until I fall asleep.
Right.
But it's like that's my quiet time.
Exactly.
And I erase everything in my head that's been bothering me all day.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So we're on the same page. Then you go to sleep, and then you wake up the next day, and you're ready to go again. At least I am.
Yeah.
That's how I operate.
That's exactly how I am too.
Because you can't dwell on negatives. You got to keep moving.
No. Yeah.
I can write a book about negatives, but it's not going to help.
No.
We're problem solvers. We just got to keep solving problems. Become professional problem solvers, and you'll be fine.
That's tough.
It's tough, but you have to learn to be that person.
Being a problem solver comes with a lot of work.
It's okay though.
It's a lot because you're not solving your own problems, just your own problems.
You got to solve your own problems too.
Everybody else's problems as well. Sometimes
you got to work on yourself at the same time, man.
I agree.
Well, politics and poker and religion; those are subjects that. Like today, I'm at the gym, and my friend Ron Norris, he just hates Donald Trump. And every time I'm in there and I'm working out, he comes up to me. He wants to show me something on the phone about Donald Trump. Now today, it's like, okay, 3 states are trying to kick him off the ballot because he's an insurrectionist, blah, 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 blah. And I said, Ron.
Ron?
Yeah, his name's Ron too.
I know, but Ron.
I said, Ron, they can't, it's not going to work because they've already, so far, Trump's ahead on that curve because it's not been proven legally that he's an insurrectionist. Yeah, but this one judge said he was an insurrectionist. I said, well, maybe the one judge said it, but it's not gone to court.
Right.
He's not proven guilty in that. But he wants him off the ballot so bad that he's just saying things to make himself feel better, basically. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we're arguing back and forth. And I'm thinking, we should be able to get along better.
Right.
Back to this subject, right?
Right.
Sometimes I'll just let him talk and ramble, and I'll just listen. And I'll say, look, man, I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm saying that legally this guy has an right to run for office. There's no law that says he can't run for office. Even if he is convicted of a crime, the law says that he can run. He can still be a president. I didn't make the laws.
I didn't know.
But that's the law.
Exactly.
Now, if they convict him of being an insurrectionist, then I think there is a constitutional thing that says
if
he
you're
can't.
Convicted for a felony, I want to say.
No, if he's a felon, he could still be a president. But it's an insurrectionist. That's like if he did something to turn against his country.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's the sticking point right now. That all the people that hate him are trying to make that happen.
Interesting.
Yeah, because if he gets convicted, he can still be a president.
Interesting.
You can be in jail and be a president.
I knew that.
That's crazy, huh? But that's the way it is.
All right. Give me some rants. We're at 14 minutes.
Okay. Oh, we're at 14 minutes. Okay. Let me close this out. And I'll give you some rants. Anyway, you got to find some common ground, guys. Whether it's your wife, your employer, your best friend, your girlfriend, whatever. Speaking of boyfriends and girlfriends, I read an article today that said that. It sounded pretty crazy, but they said that 37% of all men. This is bizarre to me. 37% of all men have had some kind of gay activity before they die, including up to full orgasm.
Yeah.
Now, I find that...
It's more.
I find that...
The percentage is higher.
Very hard to understand.
Percentage is higher.
I can't believe that.
I can almost guarantee.
I don't believe that.
37%?
Yeah. That would be like a third of all men. No, there's no way, man.
I can almost guarantee.
No, there's no way.
Can almost.
There is no way. You have to be... If you're gay... if you're gay, you're born gay. You're not going to.
That's not how it works.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That is not how it works.
That's how it works.
No, it's not.
Well, I'm sorry. That's
not how the brain works. That's just not how the brain works.
No, there's no way that a heterosexual man can be attracted to another man. There's no effing way.
Okay.
Period.
One, that's not how it works. That's not.
Okay, you tell me how it works from your side of the fence.
So, here's a theory.
Theory?
Well, no,
theory.
Not a theory. Here's how I envision something like this happening. Okay, so how is yours factual?
I'm basing mine on research.
What's the research?
The gentleman that did the research, I could pull him up if I could find it on the internet.
That's fine. But what is?
It was done.
It
was like a big research.
What is your argument, though? What is it? What are you?
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying I find it hard to believe that many men are fantasizing sexually about men. That maybe 10%. I can see.
No
10%.
way.
I can see 10%.
37% of all men for sure. Sure.
There's no way that a man would.
Sure.
No. You have to be born homosexual.
If we walked into the bar that's down the way over here, I promise you, I'll point out a gay man, and you would be like, "There's no way," and I'll be like, "I promise."
I'm not saying that's not the case. But that doesn't mean that there's 37% of men walking around having sexual fantasies about men.
Okay, so any homophobe that's come up to you and said that they don't like gay people, they're gay. Just FYI.
But that has nothing to do with my statement.
Yes, it does. No. Think about how many homophobes there are, and then think about how many gay people there are.
I'm saying to you. Okay, let's talk about it a different way. There was this article about a former king or emperor or whatever he was. They say he was a transsexual. Well, you can't be a transsexual back in the year 2100 AD because they didn't have surgeries to create transsexuals. He might have been homosexual, wanting to be a woman. He might have cross-dressed. But that's not a transsexual.
So there is this. It's a syndrome, disease, something like that, and you will have genitalia of female and male.
Yeah, that's a disease.
Yes.
Or you're born that way.
Yes.
I know about that.
But
only one or the other works. Only one or the other works.
Correct. They could have had that and been thought of as transsexual.
Possibly.
Could have.
Well, by the way, there's homosexuality in all animals. We're animals, but all species have homosexuality. Yes. And they do say in some animals it's not about homosexuality, it's about social acceptance or showing dominance,
things like that.
Which, I have a hard time processing that, but I'm studying it more and more because I'm fascinated by it.
There's some homosexuals that do it for that as well. It's just how their brain chemistry is. It's just how the brain is in general.
Well, having been molested when I was a kid, it's uncomfortable for me to talk about it, but I do want to talk about it because it's interesting and it's just part of human nature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll close out this subject about, can we just all get along? We can try to get along better. How about that? Okay, now we'll do some Ron's rants and we'll get out of here. So the banks. I've talked about the banks before. Mm-hmm. So... we've had this problem this year with these credit card companies where they've been keeping our money, not giving it back to us because we're considered to be a high risk. And so what's happening is we're working with a limited amount of capital for the last 90 days. And so when we go in the hole, when we go into overdraft, they'll charge us $17 for every debit. And it's just gotten ridiculous how much. And I mean, you might be in the hole in the morning and then in the afternoon you make your deposit, you're back up in the black again. And they're still charging because they can, and then I found out there's no limit what they can charge you, as many times a day as they want to, $17. So it could be hundreds of dollars in a day, which in my case it's happened to me. And here's the sad part. It's like when somebody's down, you don't kick them.
Right.
But the banks are doing this, and they're making a fortune on overdraft fees, and NSF fees, and it's wrong. There should be a law, but I studied it lately, and there is no law. They can do whatever they want, as much as they want, as often as they want.
Right.
I have one bank that charges $55 for an insufficient check or an overdraft. $55. That's crazy.
That's really crazy.
But that's along the lines of what I'm saying. These banks are out of control, in my opinion. There should be some kind of overseeing that doesn't allow them to do that. Or a limit.
Right.
You can only have, maybe only 5 times a day or 3 times a day or... Yeah, it's too much.
10% of whatever the purchase was. You know what I mean?
And if you're down, you're just going to get further down and further down until you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I'm not complaining. I'm just analyzing, and I'm just saying this is not right. It's poor business, in my opinion. I would never treat a client like. I have clients all day long that don't pay me, say they're going to pay me, give me a credit card, they don't call back, credit card doesn't clear, they don't answer their phone. Look, I'm not going to go out and beat people over the head for that money. I'm not complaining, but I have people that owe me money right now that, I'm just not going to go try to collect it because they know they owe the money and I shouldn't have to ask them.
Right.
And I'm not talking about big amounts of money, but it's just the idea that people should be more responsible or at least pony up to it. Right. If I owe money, I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to go, I'm not available. I'm going to hit it head on. That's the only way to solve anything is to be honest with yourself and honest with your vendor, whoever your vendor is or whoever you owe money to. So just a bit of advice, if you get into financial trouble, hit it head on, man. Don't ever try to hide from it. Don't back down from it. Just get it on the table and talk to the people that you owe the money to and just be honest with them. And then try to figure it out how to pay them and get it paid off as soon as you can. So that's kind of my thought on the money thing. So you got any last thoughts?
Get along with it.
Construction, that's another pet peeve of mine. Everywhere you go in Springfield, Missouri, there's frigging street construction going on. And somebody's got an endless amount of money somehow to make they're building sidewalks that are already there. They're like tearing them down and putting it's crazy. The money, the wastefulness. Is that a word?
It's
Wastefulness?
$1, yeah.
It's terrible. And not counting how much it affects the driver.
Right.
And the people that are trying to get to and fro from work and the store and back and forth.
Right.
You have to slow down. You have to worry about the cones on the highway. And for what? It's not like how much improvement is it from an old sidewalk to a new sidewalk?
Sometimes they could be doing pipes under the sidewalk.
Okay, I'm not saying all of it's bad, but it looks to me like a lot of it's just because somebody's got some money probably from government grants, and the city says, "Oh well, we got to spend it or lose it." Yeah. So let's just go out here and tear up a bunch of streets and tear up a bunch of sidewalks.
Probably.
Come on, man.
Probably.
That's crazy.
I agree.
Let's put the money to some good use. Let's build a museum or something, or help the poor, or
something.
Get some of the homeless people off the street, build them a camp or something.
You would think.
Just saying.
I agree with you.
All right. Any last thoughts, sir?
Just be nice to people. Be nice to everybody. It's not hard.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Well, until next time, just remember, if the stars line up, no, that's not it. Just remember.
The stars.
The stars will always
line up. Oh, something like that. That's the end. Yeah, that's the end. Just always remember.
If that's the star. That's the stars. That was our creed.
Always remember.
If you don't give up, the stars will always line up. So until next time, hey, stay positive.